I'd like to call to order the Douglas Zoning Board of Appeals meeting on Wednesday, May 7th at 7 p.m. The first agenda item is a continued public hearing from Jacob Boloniaz, case number 2025-02, 125 Ledgestone Road, looking for an amendment to a special permit. Would you like to join us?
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Evening. I know we continued the last one so you could go to conservation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was able to get there last month and luckily got approved through that board for that, for the order, an amendment to that order of conditions.
Okay.
So.
All right. So you want to just give us a little rundown?
Sure.
What you're
Yep.
gonna do?
So I'm here tonight hoping to get a special permit for modification to the existing permit that I have going on, I think 2023-10. It would be to include the addition of an 8 by 28-foot deck to the previously approved plans. So the deck would be constructed along the front side of the house. We tried to keep it at 8 feet in depth in order to not go inside that front yard setback, or go inside as little as possible. We'd be able to still maintain all the side yard setbacks as well as the rear.
Okay.
It would be coming inside that front yard setback, being the high water mark, by 8 feet. However, it's still remaining more conforming than what we previously had there, which by about 3 feet. So we're further back by about 3 feet with this proposed deck. Some of the reasons we're looking for the deck, we didn't have the deck previously on the plans, and throughout the process we realized we really would like to have a deck just to enjoy the property, just to kind of keep the neighborhood consistent with all our neighbors who all have decks on the lake side, and it's just an added safety measure as far as another point of egress for in case there was ever a fire or an emergency or something like that. So that's about it. Just like I said, we got through conservation last month, and I heard from, I think, Jen, that everything came through already with the amendment to that order of conditions.
Okay. Any board members have any questions for the applicant?
No, just a comment that he's less non-conforming than the original structure that was there on our first approval for this application. I don't have any issue with it.
Anybody else? Is there anybody in the room that would like to comment on this application? Okay, hearing none. If the board doesn't have any other questions, we can somebody make a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Fitzpatrick to close the public hearing, seconded by Mr. Forget. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing's now closed. Oh, just one thing. I failed to mention that Mr. Fitzpatrick, Mr. Palmer, Mr. Forget, Ms. Bacon, and myself are voting on this application. So, anybody want to make another motion?
I make a motion that we grant the amendment to the special permit for 125 Ledgestone Road, special permit number 2023-10.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Bacon, seconded by Mr. Fitzpatrick, to approve the application as drawn, I guess, that's the correct term. Okay.
Do we want to make a reference to the plan submitted?
Yep,
Stamp that
absolutely.
one in.
Yep.
You want to add that to your, there's a plan dated 2021, May 21, 24. It was stamped in February 11, 2025.
Okay.
If you want to stamp it with that thing and then keep it with Jen's file, I guess.
Oh, right here, yeah. Okay, so we're going to just add this plan to your motion,
Yep.
Margaret. Okay, we have a motion by Margaret, seconded by Mike. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, your amendment to your special permit was approved, and we'll get it
Thank you.
drafted and get it to you as soon as possible.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks. Have a great
good
night.
night.
Thank you.
The next agenda item is a public hearing for Kara Murphy, case number 2025-04, 400 Northwest Main Street. It's an application for a special permit. The following was posted in the town hall and also advertised in the Telegram and Gazette, and it reads as follows. The Town of Douglas Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing beginning at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, May 7th, in the Douglas Municipal Center Resource Room, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. To hear the following application. Kara Murphy is requesting a special permit in an RA zone district pursuant to MGL Chapter 40A, Section 9 in the Douglas zoning bylaws, Section 9.3 and Section 3.4.3 non-conforming structures to reconstruct a single family on a pre-existing non-conforming lot on property located at 400 Northwest Main Street, Assessors Map 159, Parcel 42. Any person interested or wishing to be heard should appear at the time and place designated. A copy of the application is available for review during regular business hours in the Douglas Community Development Department, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. Oh.
My wife pulled the permit, so.
Oh, okay.
Hi, my name's Ryan Murphy. I've owned that parcel of land, I'd say better part of 25 years. My parents have owned the property in front of me, I don't know, for a better part of 50 years. So I've finally been able to be in a situation that I've always been wanting to build there. And the previous was a cottage that was condemned. It was falling down. So I had Cuppy draw me up a set of plans that we didn't encroach on any more than what was already pre-exist. You know,
Okay.
if it was 6 feet from the road, he kept that whole line 6, you know,
Yep.
just so he could square it off.
Okay. And we got a correspondence from the planning board who had no objection to this application. I must say, you fooled me. I went looking for 400 Northwest Main Street. I couldn't find it. I had to call-
It's on the pole.
It's on the pole,
Yeah, I
right.
put this, yeah.
That's the only thing that said 400.
I don't know.
He called me up, I'm like, it's not.
Yeah, I don't know why they named it 400 Northwest Main.
Yeah. So, all right, and you did submit a set of, your application and clock to her. Did everybody get a copy of this? Okay. Yeah, we got a small one in our packet, and there's a large one here if anybody wants to take a look at it. And you really didn't encroach on the sidelines any more than the previous
Yeah,
building. Yeah,
Did a pretty good job of centering it on the lot, actually.
yeah, I agree. Yeah. Is there any board members that have a question for the applicant?
I have a couple questions.
Okay.
Did you already go through the Board of Health with this yet?
No, I did not.
Because one thing, are you proposing, I see on one of the plans,
A
is that
tight
tight tank?
Yes.
And then I also noticed under the town's assessors, the existing cottage was a two-bedroom,
Yes.
and then you're proposing a three-bedroom? Yeah, that might be a problem with the Board of Health. You can't increase the, especially on a non-conforming lot like this, by increasing it by another bedroom. It kicks it up into new construction. Tight tanks wouldn't be allowed. So, to take a look at
That would be a Board of Health issue, though.
Correct. Just giving a heads up. So you're
Okay.
going to need to go to the Board of Health, and obviously the engineer surveyor here probably must have located everybody else's septics So you're,
Yeah.
you put in a new well, or you're going to?
No, I'm going to put in a new
You're gonna
well.
put-
The existing well's a shallow well.
All right, so you know where everybody else is.
Yeah, that's the furthest.
Sure.
The point where that is the furthest from everybody else's.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a little challenging on these small lots.
So you understand that Board of Health issue, you'll have to deal with them. And if this gets approved, we're only approving the outline of the house. We're not approving anything that's inside.
Okay.
So you'll have to take that up with that board. Okay. Anybody else have any questions or comments on this application? Does anybody in the room have any comments on this application?
I just have a question. I'm going to file the application with my husband.
Okay.
If we change it to a two-bedroom, but it's the same structure, does that matter? If we just take a wall out and it's a big two-bedroom, two rooms are big?
Two-bedroom to two-bedroom.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Make it-
Yeah, so I think what her question is if, in the event that this got approved, as long as you don't change the footprint of what's on this plan, and you make it a one-bedroom, as long as you,
But if
because
it's
we're
required
we're dimensional from the property lines, so as long as you're not changing that,
No.
yeah, this issue with the two-bedroom, three-bedroom, whatever it is, that's Board of Health, that's nothing to do with us.
So when we go to the Board of Health, do we have to come back here? No? Okay.
Well, I don't think so, but I'm assuming that if it
Okay.
goes the way you're hoping it will.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's just a heads up for the board.
Okay. Oh, thank you.
Just
To
a
the
warning.
chair.
Yes.
That would only be if it was altered from the location from the Board of Health, would he not have to come back to the board for?
If they altered the building, yes.
Yeah.
If they said that the septic had to go where the house is, yeah, they'd have to come back. That would be odd.
Okay.
So you understand, we're just approving.
Yep, yeah,
Physical location
yeah,
of
physical
the-
location of it, yep.
home.
Yeah.
And the inside was between you and
Board of Health.
Board of Health and the Building Commissioner.
Inspector.
Is there anybody else that wants to speak on this application? Okay. Hearing none, we'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion by Mike to close the public hearing. Do we have a second? Seconded by Jim Palmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. The public hearing's closed. Would the board like to move forward with a decision tonight?
I don't see why not. Sure.
Okay.
You good, Jim?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm good.
Ronnie, you all
Yep.
set? Yeah. Margaret?
Yep. Okay. So I'll entertain a motion. If everybody's got one.
I'll make a motion to approve the application of 2025-04 as submitted. And I want to attach the plans drawn by Hawk Consulting dated 3/17/25. They actually have a job number 23-113 on there. And it was stamped in by the town clerk on April 8th, 2025.
Okay.
Do you want to include the house plans in there? It's,
Yeah, we could do that just for
We
the
can do that.
outside dimensions.
Yeah.
For only that reason.
also include a set of plans, as the chairman noted, for the exterior dimensioning, just in the event that you change it to a two-bedroom from a three-bedroom. Drawn by Stephen Dix, dated 6/05/24. And you can take my copy and stamp those in.
Yep. Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Fitzpatrick,
Second.
seconded by Mr. Palmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we will get,
You know the rundown. We have to wait for the decision to come back. We get it stamped. Then once you get it signed,
yeah,
and then you have to record it, and then you have a 20-day appeal period.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. We'll try to get that
Thank
done
you.
for you as soon as we're able.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, have a good
Good
night.
night.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'm going to recuse myself.
Yeah, you want to send in the other elf?
What's that?
Want to send Les back in?
Sure, I'll send those back. I will jog.
That was nice.
He's laughing because I said, you want to send the other elf back in?
I get to rejoin at
Yeah.
7:16.
Let's see, I gotta, do you have like a couple for, is that for the next?
What's this?
Yeah, I don't know why I don't have one.
You can take it. You might have put it in mine by now.
Okay, the next agenda item is a public hearing for Linda Nunes, who's requesting an amendment to a special permit. The following was published in the Worcester Telegram and Gazette and was posted here in the Town Hall, and it reads as follows. The Town of Douglas Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing beginning at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, May 8th, 2025, in the Douglas Municipal Center Resource Room, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass., to hear the application of Linda Nunes. She is requesting an amendment to a special permit, case number 2023-21, in an RA zone district pursuant to MGL Chapter 40A, Section 9, and the Douglas zoning bylaws, Section 9.3, Section 3.4.3, non-conforming structures, to allow a smaller single-family home with additional non-conforming porches and a larger deck on a pre-existing non-conforming lot on property located at 41 Ledgestone Drive, Assessors Map 102, Parcel 8. Any person interested or wishing to be heard should appear at the time and place designated. A copy of the application is available for review during regular business hours in the Douglas Community Development Department, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. Hi.
Hi. Well, I'm Linda Nunes, so
Okay.
thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it. Before I get into it, I just kind of want to give you a little history on the property because it's important to me
Okay.
for you guys to understand that. So my mom's my neighbor, and the property I'm on is my great-great-grandfather's property. And I grew up on the lake. Gosh, I spent a good 20 years there before I found my husband and moved out west for a little bit.
Okay.
But anyways, what I did want you to know is that I bought the property from my cousin, and my husband and I were planning on having a vacation house there and come out in the summers and enjoy like the Manchog Pond. So we started the process, and he wanted to be the general contractor, because feels like he can do it all. But anyway, so we got going on it, and unfortunately he had cancer, and he passed away last year.
Oh, sorry to hear.
So, well, things happen, you got to move on.
Yeah.
But things changed for me when that happened. It's no longer going to be a summer house where I just visit when I can. I'm going to move here full time. My cousins or my neighbors, I have 8 relatives surrounding me, and all my friends I grew up with, one that I brought with me today. And so it's where I'm meant to be. So we started building, and I'm the general contractor, and I changed a few things. I moved the house back away from the water. I made it smaller than the original idea of the plot that is what you're looking at here that Margaret had submitted. So it's a smaller house. I pushed it back, but then I added a little larger deck, because one thing I realized is I do like to entertain, so I figured I might need a little more room than what I originally had. So I did a few changes, and I was unaware that, I didn't know, because it was like a small footprint, that I needed to come first. So I apologize for that. But now I'm here. So I hope that, you guys can see some of the changes I did. Smaller footprint, move the house back, and a little larger deck, and a patio off the bedroom. Very small one. I don't want too big of a house to clean anyway. So when you're looking at the plan here, the black outline was the original size of the house that when I went to Margaret to do, I wanted to say Coastal Commission, what is it? But anyways, so it was a larger house, but then, being a vacation house, I thought it was too big, so we shrunk it up, and I put the plans in originally for this smaller house
Okay.
to the building inspector. So I just moved it back and added a little larger deck. Everything is still the 50 feet back. I haven't encroached on any zoning issues.
Okay. So the deck's actually 5 feet bigger than what was originally approved?
Right, yeah, and I moved the house back
Yeah.
further.
Mr. Chairman, was this brought to us because I had no frontage?
Well, there was a change in,
No. The original, why do we have a special permit on it? Because I had no frontage on it? Is
think
that
we
what
have the
makes it
decision here.
non-conforming? I'm looking at the area, the 119,000 feet, meeting all the setbacks. It's just the only thing that don't have is frontage.
Was there a previous cottage on it or no cottage?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was,
Yep.
Okay.
it was
Yeah, but
much
I'm just
closer
trying
to
to-
the water, and
Trying to
yeah.
remember why we had this, because everything's there except for frontage, so I'm just assuming that.
area, right? Is it frontage or area?
No, there's 119,000 feet,
Okay.
so 90,000 zoning.
Yep.
So it must be just because of frontage.
Lack of frontage, yeah.
Okay. You already went to, no, conservation had,
Yeah, conservation, that was the word.
Right.
I forgot, yeah. Conservation's all set, everything's all
Paying
set.
attention.
Yep.
yeah, okay.
The deck grew, but the house got smaller, so
Yeah, I personally don't see any issue with it because why she even had to come in the first place is because of the lack of frontage. I don't know how this lot was created, but there's plenty of area, there's plenty of setback. You're not encroaching on anything. I'm sure that she was set back here because
we have
there was a
correspondence.
change and the building commissioner picked up on it and said you need to go back and fix it.
We have correspondence from the planning board, says they have no objection to the attached request. Okay. Any board members have any questions for the applicant?
No, I'm good.
Okay. All right, is there anybody in the room that would like to speak on this application? Okay, hearing none. I'll entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Okay, Second. We have a motion by Mr. Fitzpatrick to close the public hearing, second by Mr. Palmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Public hearing is now closed.
Thank you. I do have one question before I leave.
The public
Public
hearing
hearing's
is closed. We're
closed.
going to make a decision next.
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't know.
You'll be stuck with him after we're done with this.
A question for him, then.
Okay. Anyone want to make a motion on this application?
But I'll make a motion to approve the as-built foundation plan dated April 5th, 2025 for 41 Ledgewood Drive.
I'll give you mine, you can stamp that and give that to,
Okay.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Stevens, seconded by Mr. Fitzpatrick to approve it as submitted. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, we'll get a decision drafted and as soon as we can and get it to you
Okay,
as soon as possible.
all right.
Okay.
And then I guess I'll speak with him later.
Yep.
Yeah, he has a lot to say. So. Okay. All right. The next agenda item is the public hearing for Jason Randor, case number 2025-06, 284 Northwest Main Street, is applying for a special permit. And what am I missing? You have that one?
What's that?
No, I'm missing.
Oh, what, the cover sheet?
What one?
I just have to read it, that's all.
Yeah.
What am I saying?
Thank you. I don't know. Okay. The following was published in the Telegram and Gazette and posted in the Town Hall, and the notice reads as follows. The Town of Douglas Zoning Board of Appeals will hold a public hearing beginning at 7 p.m. on Wednesday, May 7th in the Douglas Municipal Center Resource Room, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass. to hear the following application. Jason Randor is requesting a special permit in an RA zone district pursuant to MGL Chapter 40A, Section 9, and the Douglas zoning bylaws, Section 9.3 and Section 3.4.5, non-conforming single and two-family residence structures to construct a single-family home on a pre-existing non-conforming lot on property located at 284 Northwest Main Street, assesses map 159, parcel 9. Any person interested or wishing to be heard should appear at the time and place designated. A copy of the application is available for viewing during regular business hours in the Douglas Community Development Department, 29 Depot Street, Douglas, Mass.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Mark Allen with Allen Engineering and Associates, here representing Jason and Elise Randor. I believe Elise is with us on Zoom tonight,
Okay.
as well as their architect, Jason Palutro. As the chair mentioned, this is a proposed new construction home on a pre-existing non-conforming lot. The property at 284 Northwest Main Street, I have depicted on the plans in front of you. The existing cottage is shown in orange, and a former garage in orange as well on the property. The property is about a third of an acre. It's only about 15,000 square feet, so it doesn't have the RA zone 90,000 square feet, and it doesn't have the required frontage. It has about 53 feet of frontage, so it is a pre-existing non-conforming lot. The proposal you have in front of you, we have gone through tech review and gone through the building department, got a rejection letter for the building application, and the need for the special permit is before you tonight for the structure that I've highlighted in green, and the roof overhang line is in red. So you may see in your package maybe something a little different. I've actually shown the setbacks from the front and the side, setbacks to not only the green line, which is the foundation, but also the red line, which is the roof overhang line, just in case that, matters in the decision-making process. We did have the site fully engineered. Being on the Whiten Reservoir, none of the building is within the 100-foot buffer zone to the wetland, but a portion of the septic system and the small demolition of the existing cottage. There's a portion of this cottage that's going to be sort of interrupted by the septic system grading. So a small portion, which was an addition, is going to be removed so as to make the new septic system compliant with Title V. And the other item, and that septic system is now before the Board of Health, being reviewed by Steve Donatelli and the Board of Health. Also, we filed today the conservation application, which includes that small removal of the existing structure. It includes a small portion of the septic system and the stormwater mitigation to go along with the site. You may know that the property next door, the Lonergans, we also designed and approved last year. And what we're doing is we're utilizing the exact same stormwater controls, the same collection system, the same best management practices, the same sort of infiltration that we use next door. It was reviewed and approved by the Conservation Commission next door. It was installed last year. It came out nice, and we're getting, I think they've already moved in, so their occupancy permit was granted, and I think we're going to go for the certificate of compliance very shortly next door. So we filed that with the Conservation Commission today. We have a hearing, I believe, on the 25th of May. So any questions the board may have, more than welcome to ask.
Yep. Board members?
Yes, actually, you said a small portion of that existing cottage is going to be taken off. You can't have two residents on one lot to start with.
Yeah, that's just going to strictly be used for an accessory structure. Now, this is going to be the primary
An
structure.
accessory structure of what, in what manner?
I'll have to defer to Jason.
It would be for mainly primarily storage reasons,
Yeah.
for usage of small watercraft and things of that nature. We wouldn't have any
Yeah.
septic tie-in or anything
Yeah.
along those lines, possibly electric.
Yeah, unfortunately, in the recent past, we had an applicant that came in and did the exact same thing. Unfortunately, didn't follow through with what was sold to us during the decision process.
Yeah. Now has somebody living in it.
Yeah, I believe, I can speak with Jason, that's not your intention. In fact, the portion that's being removed is the bathroom and all the plumbing,
Yeah.
so that it wouldn't be really
Just the kitchen.
habitable. Habitable.
We did have a communication from the planning board, and the planning board recommended that this application not be approved because of the second
Dwelling.
dwelling on the lot. So that's their recommendation. To us.
The second what?
Dwelling.
Dwelling,
Oh,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah. You mentioned you did the property next door.
Yes.
That property next door, you're 61 feet from the property line. The septic system is up in the front of the house.
It is.
Why didn't you do the same thing here?
We have an access easement that forced, in topographical reasons, the flattest part of the property is in the front of the property. If you've been to the site, you'll know that there's a very steep drop-off between the former garage and the cottage. So grading-wise, it makes a lot more sense to keep the house closer to the street, and that way you can put the septic system in the back. If you put the septic system in the front, then the house would encroach on the access easement in the middle of the
So
property.
it's a septic system.
But you can physically pass and repass over the septic system. If you had a house, you can't, you're going to walk into the house.
Yeah, I mean, that seems like a public safety issue with only being 30 feet off the road. I mean, they have company, 2 cars is all that's going to fit in that driveway
Yes, 2 cars
on
stacked in front of
a
each other.
relatively busy road, especially in the summer.
Yeah, the existing driveway shown in black, that's all going to be removed, which is primarily in the buffer zone. That's going to be removed completely, and the new driveway will be very short in the front of the building.
Who benefits, since you're an engineer, who benefits from that easement?
The folks that are to the west of the property, the Lonergans.
The one that you just built?
Correct. So they
Do
can,
they have any interest in that easement?
they have the right to pass and repass over
Do
it.
they have any interest? I know what an easement means.
Sure.
Right? Do they have any interest in that? To pass and repass it through the middle of his yard?
To our knowledge, no.
So
because
sorry.
the burdening and the benefiting property owners could extinguish that easement, and that would eliminate his issue, if that's what it is to move the house back. The problem you have is because of the roof, and you had said that if we considered the roof is attached to the house, provides shelter, so it's part of the structure. You're 1.3 feet away from the property line. If you were to move that back 60 feet, you would get into the wider part of that property. And then you wouldn't be 1.3 feet. You wouldn't be looking for relief from the front setback, because you're 37 feet on that plan. You could get 50 feet plus and get away from that 1.3 feet. So I don't see a hardship in what you're doing. I think you have past that you can get to what you want to do. I'm not saying it's impossible, but what you're presenting, it makes it challenging to just.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's good.
Topographically, as you move down the hill, that driveway is going to get longer and steeper.
Right.
And it's going to be a
The house right
construction.
next door was the same thing. If you go.
It had a lot more
The
width.
house to the right of that, you go to the one to the, 2 houses over that foundation that they put in was 18 feet tall, that was on that house.
Right.
So I understand that it's steep over there.
Yep,
But it can be done, because everybody else has been doing it.
sure. Again, it is a little unique with the passage of the easement, so that was the consideration.
How far back could you move it without being on top of the easement?
With the septic system, we can't move it. The septic system shown in pink has to be a certain amount of feet from the house, 20 feet from the house, 20 feet from the structure, so it's sandwiched right in between the two structures.
Well, that second structure's not going to stay. It can't stay. The original cottage, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got burnt on that within the last 2 years. And someone sat right where you're sitting, told us they had all the intentions in the world to disconnect the plumbing, disconnect electricity, take the kitchen out. It's still there, and somebody lives there for 6 months a year. So,
I have no knowledge of that process,
No,
that project.
no, but
I appreciate
we
it.
do.
I have no idea about it.
yeah. So,
So he could tear that down and put a garage up as an accessory structure? Is that what you're saying?
he could.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're
Well,
looking for.
if you got approval.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Exactly.
It's either
Just want to
keep,
make sure that.
it's either
like
keep
what
the
you
structure
said.
and put his stuff in the structure, or tear it down and put a new structure up.
Yeah, yeah,
Understood.
yeah. Well, the existing one has a kitchen and a bath,
Right.
and that's what we're trying to
Yeah.
eliminate. I mean, there's nothing stopping. I'm not sure if the other one is, I believe it's family living there, but it may be rented, I don't know.
Sure. Well, our governor just passed the ADU bylaw, which you're all aware of.
Right?
That's right, and that's what that could potentially become
I know.
after the fact. It
I
could
know.
become one.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just to complicate things a hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But you can't reverse the ADU law going in the opposite direction. So if your current house is 1,800 square feet,
But he wouldn't be reversing it. If you put up the new house and you left that old thing as a shed, today's a shed, tomorrow it could be an ADU, you're gonna change the use of it.
correct, and
Yeah.
under
And
900
it's
square
a
feet.
pre-existing, non-conforming,
Yeah.
with the setbacks and all the other stuff
Yeah.
that comes along with it. So, anyways, my problem is, it's too close to the property line. You have options to move the thing back. You have an option for that easement. It doesn't make logical sense to me that that property to the left of it, which is the benefiting property, he's the burdening property owner, couldn't come together and just eliminate it, because they're not going to drive through that thing to go there. They just put in a brand-new driveway.
Can I,
1 minute, the chairman will recognize you.
Did you have?
No, I'm all set.
Go ahead, sir.
sorry to interrupt. I think that there might be a miscommunication about who has access to the right-of-way. The Lonergans do not have deeded rights and access to the right-of-way. It's only to the northeast, I believe, that access is continued. We are the last remaining lot with deeded access and rights to that right-of-way on that strip. So there isn't anyone to the south from our wall that has access, granted access.
So what is the purpose of keeping it?
And we do apologize. Henry Lane is Jason and Elise's attorney. He can't make it tonight.
Okay.
He's far more well-versed in the deeded access rights. So we can't speak to the exact language of
All right.
the easement.
I personally have an issue with the 1 foot 3 inches from the lot line. That's asking for too much. You know? I mean, if everybody did that, it'd become the city of Douglas.
The big city.
Les has the comment.
Oh, go ahead, Les.
No, I've been fortunate enough to, I think, lived up there 21 years ago on the two houses away, three houses away. So the easement going through and stuff like that, I mean, again, it only benefits this one parcel there. The property line, I have to agree with Dan as well as Mike, the right side property line being, we as a group and as a board, really 10 feet at a minimum is or the maximum, really, because you got to have to be
And
servicing.
that's actually getting Dan to do a concession.
Yeah, right.
Correct, yeah.
Usually it's 50% of the required.
Correct, yeah.
So, I mean, 1 foot 3 is just
Yeah.
doesn't fly.
I think you have some options. You guys are free to do whatever you want, but I wouldn't push for a decision tonight. I would rethink it.
I would like Henry Lane to be here at the next meeting for sure, because we can't answer how do you extinguish easements and.
No, but at least you know what the thought process is.
Exactly.
Right, so now you can
Exactly.
go back, you can.
Absolutely. we'll hopefully
get
get
together
word.
with Henry and see what you have for
Right,
options, but.
right.
Well, what's the use of the easement? I mean,
It was back in the day, 100 years ago, for people to pass and repass to get to the lake.
Yeah, during my whole time up there,
sure, but
it was never,
necessary, is it not necessary?
it was never a repass. It was a dead end.
Okay.
Yeah, there was
This is.
there was an outhouse.
They only use it up to the house on the right, and it stops.
Yeah.
And then that house is there, and then
Yeah.
goes across a little driveway that goes down, and then it's into his property.
Yeah.
And this is a great point for coming to this board first. I just want to make that known. We've had some discussions about, do you go to conservation first, do you go to Board of Health first, do you go to zoning first? And I've heard a lot of conversations. So this, in my opinion, your feedback telling us where the house has to be is the right thing to do. Because it's been told to other applicants, go to conservation. They'll ask, hey, go to conservation, we can't do anything. So this is the right thing to do,
Well-
is to come to this board and you tell us what you think.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that.
But we have done that and approved things. Matter of fact, about 3 or 4 doors from that house, we approved it, and Conservation turned them down.
Sure.
So they had an approved variance, and they had to come back, and they said they were going to be, I don't recall, 20 feet from the road, and then Conservation pushed them away from the water.
Sure.
And they came back and said, now we can't be 20 feet from the road, and,
We always make a recommendation that you go to the conservation and they get them, because it's easier
Yeah.
to
Yeah, and like I say-
figure out what we have left to work with, because we don't have to give you an amendment.
And
So
right
we're trying to be
now, the
helpful.
house isn't within the buffer zone, so
Right.
their only jurisdiction is taking down that portion of the house and this little
Right.
settling basin.
Yeah.
So would you,
I think they'll be,
So now-
I think they're going to be reasonable with you anyways.
So now you're going to have the brand doors now reapply to the Board of Health and reapply to the conservation.
Why do you have an approved something from the Board of Health?
No, we fully engineered this knowing, or at least trying to plan ahead and file all 3 applications concurrently, which we have.
Yeah. It's
So
just,
if we had come to you first and we get the feedback, we could have saved the Randors a design for Board of Health and a design for conservation that is now going to change.
well,
unfortunate, but
Amended, I guess.
yeah, I think it's just an amendment. I think,
It's, you've been an engineer for a long period of time, I'm sure, and you know that it's going to be a challenge to go to, I don't care what town it is, to ask for 1.3 feet from a property.
Absolutely.
Okay? So
Absolutely.
If you made a cartoon up and it's wrong, that's on you, not on me.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So I'm just being logical about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can't come in and like, we're the bad guys because we're.
No, you're not the bad
No,
guys.
But.
I'm just saying,
Because.
this is the right thing to do. This is the first meeting.
Right.
This is the
Right.
exactly,
Yeah.
that's how I started this. I had a nice meeting with Ken and said,
Yeah.
we got to go to the zoning board. Shit, if they don't give us that setback variance, we just pissed away a lot of money at the Board of Health and Conservation Commission, so I appreciate it.
You just did the neighboring property right to the left, so you had a good idea what to expect.
Absolutely. So we're using the same collection system, the same infiltration system, the same BMPs. So we don't anticipate any pushback from conservation, unless we now show them that they're going to have impervious area with the house.
yeah, and you had more, your topo was greater on the other lot anyways for the pitch onto to the lake, so.
Right.
Yeah, so if you have that same system over here, it would work.
Sure.
pass that around to me. Like, we have a request for a continuance.
Sure, absolutely.
In giving us in asking for the continuance, you're also agreeing to give us an additional 30 days to make a decision, that's all.
To the chair, what's the next date for his meeting if he wants to?
Calendar.
Let's see, next,
It's going to be June.
second. It is June 4th.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
We have a motion to approve the request for a continuance of June 4th.
Make a motion to approve the request for a continuance to June 4th for case number 2025-1 2020-06.
Okay, we have a motion by Mike to continue the public hearing to second meeting in June, second by Mr. Palmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Appreciate it. Have a good night.
Thank you. Okay. Yep,
Yeah, let me go grab mine.
that's going good. We just, your attention, we're going to take a 2-minute recess.
2-minute break, please.
Okay. Okay, thank you. The next item for discussion is, we have an application for an alternate on the zoning board. There is, his application is in your packet. His name is Sean Holland. I served with him on this zoning board for at least 10 years. And
I did as well.
and he resigned a few years back because he had too many things going on. And,
That was during the COVID time.
yes, it was.
Of course it was.
Yeah,
I don't mean that.
No.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to make a recommendation to the Board of Selectmen whether or not to appoint him. I here to speak highly for him. He really was a good member. He's an attorney, so he had some good input, and he was dependable, and then this situation arose, and he had to resign.
Sure.
But he said he's got whatever the issues were, they're behind him, and he'd like to get back on the board, and I think he'd make a very good alternate.
Yeah, I would support him as well. He was a good member.
Yeah.
100%.
So if we could, maybe just take a vote on recommending his appointment or not recommending his appointment to the Board of Selectmen, that would be great.
Yep, says possible votes, okay. I make a recommendation, I make a motion to recommend Sean Holland as an alternate for the ZBA.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion by Mike, seconded by Jim. All in favor for recommending Sean Holland for the alternate position on the ZBA?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, unanimous, so I'll have Jen send a little notice to the Board of Selectmen. And I'm going to just jump ahead for a minute. I see Neil's here, and I know he wants to get home and get to bed. So we're going to put him ahead of a couple of other things, so you want to join us, Neil? Okay, good evening.
Hi.
So, Neil, you saw the letter we got from Haley and Ward?
I did.
Okay.
And this is in regards to North Village?
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, so we're going to address their concerns.
No, I did not see the letter that you received from Haley Ward.
Oh,
Would you mind if I?
Let me, see what I have here.
take your time, read that.
Mark, you here for something else, too? Oh, yeah.
You know what? Can we sign these well?
Here, Mike.
There you go.
Oh,
I think it's
so,
You want a copy, so you have a copy.
Perfect. Thank you.
good, I don't have to sign that, whatever this is.
I think there's just 2 copies.
No, what is this?
That's under Ronnie.
Look at that before we pass it around.
Something else, is there something else in there?
No,
Really,
just this and a voucher.
Voucher, yeah, okay.
Is that supposed to be signed or no?
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is the decision on Lindbergh Drive, Lindbergh Ave.
Yeah, this is the. My name's not on it.
Okay. So any thoughts on?
No, we have no problem updating the plans.
Two of them, Jim?
For what
I
they're
don't see
requesting.
anything for the second one, I just,
Oh, all right.
I mean,
I only saw
nothing
one.
earth-shattering here.
No, I thought there was something earth-shattering.
No, I just wanted to make sure you saw it and were good with it. So,
Ronnie, just check those other pages, make sure there's not 2 of them. Normally, we do stuff in doubles.
I'm sure I have access to that copy.
so-
I missed it, Ron? I missed it, yeah.
I'm sorry?
Yeah. We'll have to give that back
Yep.
to Jim again. There's another spot on there for.
So the
It's like-
proposed industrial park is really a planning board issue, right? So it's just a courtesy that you're letting us know about it?
We didn't know why it was in front of this board, to be honest with
I
you.
think it was just given to us just to put our eyes on it, just
Okay.
as a courtesy.
Sign all of it?
Yeah, he needs it back.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Both boards usually reach out to the other for any recommendations or whatever, so, but it is clearly a planning board issue, and if they ask us for additional input, we'll certainly do that.
Sure.
Want to pass it that way? Take it off.
So is everything in North Brown going all right?
I think everything's going great. Do you guys want an update on?
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
So the entire infrastructure's in for Phase 4. We will be bringing the road gravel in next week at some point, compacting it and then paving it shortly after that.
Okay. All right.
Water and sewer signed off on the
Yes.
infrastructure?
Yeah.
Yep. Good. All right. Where do we stand with the bonding?
The bonding, right now, the bonding is with the underwriter at the bonding company.
Okay.
They expressed some concerns about the way it was written, where it went from more of a top coat bond to a more of a performance bond. The underwriter's asking us for some changes we don't think we're going to be able to work through. So we were entertaining the possibility of switching it to a covenant, and we're discussing that right now.
Okay. I saw some emails going back and forth between Ed and Jay Talaman.
Yeah.
So it looked like they were not in agreement, but they were working to get one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So,
Yeah.
go ahead.
To the board, the chair. I have mentioned to Neil with regards to the percentage profit loss statements. And I don't know where you're at with that at this point, but I know that.
They just wrapped that up with the accountant. They were meeting with him today. You guys should have that very shortly.
All right. Did you have any issues up there at all, Ken?
No, everything seems to be going pretty good. I think you've got all of what is up on Nautical Way and all that is all sold at this point. You're just trying to get your road work to a point so that you can potentially get some permits. Right?
Correct. Yeah, and I think really the thing hanging up permits right now is a bond.
And I also had a discussion with Neil, I think it was last week, we had a discussion Thursday, I think it was, with regards to going back through and getting all the completion done on all the storm cells and everything that needs to be done on Nautical and Compass to where you're at now.
Yep.
And I believe I'll let you speak to your time schedule on that as to where you guys think you are.
We're going to be starting that shortly. Now that weather's broken, stuff's going to start drying out, then we will be going in and touching up all those items. We'll go down Haley Ward's list and punch away at it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you put hydrants in on the fourth phase?
Yes.
Yeah. And it's all live?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, well, I don't have anything else, unless you have questions
So-
for us.
So once they get the bonding and get their accounting report, they may be clear to pursue their permits. I just want to make sure that we acknowledge it and Neil knows what his path is.
Thank you.
Which I'm sure he does, but might as well say it anyway.
I appreciate it.
Great.
All right, well, thank you for coming in, and good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Yep.
Good night.
Thanks.
All right, you'll also find in your packet, there was an application for a 40B for 30 Southwest Main Street. For those of you who weren't involved in this previous one, 40Bs go through the ZBA, not through the planning board. So I think they submitted nothing more than just a drawing of what they're anticipating doing. And when we receive that, I think we ought to plan to get some legal representation on it, because they're pretty complex.
To the chair, I think this came in as questions from Mass Housing with regards to their proposal and stuff, and you would have to check with, I would suggest you check with either town council or you check with town administrator as to exactly what they're looking for on that. I know there was a timeline on this.
Okay.
With regards to, because they went through the whole Mass Housing program with for that fast tracking.
Covered a lot of with this.
Yeah, it's all got to do with the fast tracking. And they said they had submitted it prior, but everybody I spoke with said they really hadn't seen anything prior, and all of a sudden it landed, and there's a time limit on doing that.
Okay.
Just to highlight what Mr. Fraser highlighted here, it does say in the letter from Mass Housing that your comments are due to this office by May 26th. So this month, before our next meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a site walk there today at 7 o'clock.
Who was what?
There was a site walk there at 7 o'clock today.
Yeah.
Scheduled.
With who?
11.
So they're really fast tracking it.
11.
11 o'clock today, May 7th.
Yep.
Who was part of the site walk?
Local will conduct a site visit which local boards as defined may attend. I guess if we knew about it, we could have attended.
Well, in the letter, but I guess if we got any comments, we might as well comment on it now, since the comments are before.
Yeah.
Yep.
So,
Is there town water up there?
No,
yes.
Well, there is town water, but
it doesn't go that far.
the...
It's in the street.
No, I know it's in the street, but it's not a large amount of volume. Most of the houses on that street have booster pumps that actually use the water source.
So,
I believe that the water superintendent,
It won't have enough for fire suppression,
Bob,
that's for
had
sure.
said that he was going to make comments with regards to water supply up in
Yeah.
that area.
Okay.
Murphy's got a booster pump on his house. He's in the cul-de-sac on the bottom of the hill.
Oh, yeah, Dan was questioning if there was water to that point.
Right.
That's why I was highlighting
Yeah.
it past it.
Technically, there's a pipe in the ground.
Closer
Yep.
to McCollum's.
Doesn't have the volume, but there's a pipe.
Doesn't have the volume.
Okay.
And I believe the septic design was some kind of a community leaching field setup.
That's what it shows, yeah.
So this particular, if we're going to be entertaining comments, one of the biggest challenges is where this driveway comes in. It's actually the original driveway for the house that was there. Very little line of sight coming from the west. Right, you come over the crest of that hill at Churchill, and you're on it.
Quick. Yeah,
So it's not going to handle large amounts of traffic very easily.
yeah. Person turning left out of this parcel would definitely be challenged
Yeah.
because of the nearness of.
Yeah.
Topography is very,
Turning left or right.
Yeah.
People go by my house 50, 60 miles an hour,
Yeah.
even though it's 30. Trailer truck, an 18-wheeler came out of it this morning. Southwest Main Street, Old Thompson Road. I don't know, he must have been lost.
So we should actually get a engineer on board to do the reviews.
Agree.
When the other one was done, we had a town engineer on staff.
Agree. So I think our comment is that, we'd like to have,
They'll have to set up
Whether
53.
we use Haley Ward as
Right.
a,
Yep.
because we've been using them on other projects.
yeah, an engineer to review the more in-depth application, legal counsel to review, I think they're just, the initial comments. I just through Mr. Frazier, what I noticed is on the structure, which was interesting, is that showing the second floor, the bedroom space, and then it's in the garage area. So whether they're going to fireproof that wall all the way up in between the two units,
it's a good possibility with density. I mean, I haven't seen the final drawings, the as-built.
Yep.
It all depends on the density as to whether fire sprinkler systems will be required. When you have townhouses together, you have to fire rate from the foundation to the underside of the roof
Correct.
underlayment.
Yep.
So that's a requirement in the code.
Yep.
Again, I don't know about the density for fire suppression. I haven't seen the true designs, whether they're going to be 8 feet apart, 6 feet apart, 10
Yep.
feet apart, I don't know.
Yep. Yeah, I just noticed there wasn't anything that I saw, again, looking at the plan briefly, that there was any type of highlighted of fire separation, continuous through, separating the two units and stuff like that.
They have to do a 2-hour rated wall.
Right.
Yeah, and in that living area, that shared attic area that touches.
So even the garage, the entire units have to be separated.
Yeah.
All the way through.
So for 40Bs, when the zoning board reviews, we review everything?
Yeah.
Yes.
Act like the planning board.
Yeah, review everything. The memo of understanding and MOU will be through the Board of Selectmen, and then we become the babysitters.
Okay, so this doesn't go to the planning board?
No.
It goes to us?
Yep. And we had a staff engineer at the time, so a lot of that between the design engineer and the staff engineer was resolved, negotiated, resolved outside of our meetings.
Yeah.
So they would come to the meeting and say, we propose this, the town engineer's good with it, and he would acknowledge it, or they propose something he wasn't good with, so.
Just through the chair, I think on page 4, my other concern is that the water running off, coming off of the, let's call it the driveway,
The access road.
the access road,
Yeah.
going into that stormwater area, which is, again, if it overflows, it goes into that marshland. That marshland already gets pretty high at water and can kind of battle with the Southwest Main, so you don't want to push more of this runoff of the access road going down that, and then get that overwhelmed and then dumping in and feeding that marsh area. That marsh area gets pretty wet, pretty close to the Southwest Main when you go through. And
But
so
I
you-
can attest to the fact that the Douglas Camp properties sit almost at the same elevation as the top elevation of that marshland right there. So any more influence going into that basin area
Correct.
will probably end up flooding their area.
Yeah.
Plus, they have a small stream
Yep.
now that goes right through the middle of the camp meeting, which goes to Dudley Pond.
Well, they're proposing a pretty big stormwater basin down at the bottom of the hill, because that drops, right? So
Yeah.
it's 570.
I'm just looking at the one close to the road that they're proposing,
Right.
maybe not being adequate enough of what water's coming down that hill from the access road. And I mean, because
You
it's,
also have water mitigation that's coming under the Snat Trail and flowing down into that Douglas Campini property also.
yeah, just some stormwater concerns.
Yeah, I think first order would be to get an engineer on board and get a legal counsel.
Yep, agree.
And then I guess they'd have to set up a
But,
53G account.
To Les's point, if the Mass Housing's looking for a response, some concerns from us, because we won't get an engineer on board before the 26th.
No, we won't.
Right, so the stormwater runoff, how it's going to impact the marshland and vernal pools, I guess is what they're called, right?
Potential burn pools.
Whatever they are.
Yeah.
I'd say
The
potential.
peat frogs are down at the bottom. But that little pond at the street is going to impact that.
Yep.
The line of sight on Southwest Main Street from the access of this particular piece of property,
That
right
varies.
at the base of the hill.
Speed limit, I think,
So
doesn't it?
so do we want to,
What's that?
can we prepare a preliminary letter, or is it, do we have to do that through a board meeting to approve it?
What, some questions you mean?
Well, no, because they're looking for comments, May
Right.
26.
Right.
Are we going to send them comments?
Well,
Yeah.
This came from Council Talaman, Jay Talaman,
okay.
so my recommendation might be to reach out to Jay and ask what kind of a response would be required from the board.
This came from Mass Housing,
Yeah.
not from Talaman.
He sent Jay
This is-
Talaman sent it to town. He received it from Mass Housing and sent it to the town.
No. This is Mass Housing letterhead. It's addressed to the chairman of the Board of Selectmen. It's not, this isn't from Talaman's office at all. It's their letterhead. It's got Healy on the bottom and all these other people.
So I-
He might have, he didn't forward this, this got sent to us.
Yep, agree. Yeah, I agree with you.
Mr. Chairman, if you would entertain it, and somebody that I may, I'm trying to indirectly volunteer, would be willing, maybe they could draft up some of the concerns, and you can forward them to Jen.
Yeah, I could do that. I'm just wondering if, I mean, it says May 26 as they want the comments by. I wonder
Right.
if they will give us an extension, and so that our next ZBA meeting, is just going to be a week away, we all have a chance to take a look and approve.
All we can do is ask, and
That's what I would-
We can ask, but I think we should be proactive and get some responses back, just as a quick look. We have 1, 2, and 3, whatever it is, just to get something back in front of them.
Oh, yeah, sure. I can
You
volunteer
know how to
do
word it
that.
better than,
I can even
We may,
reach out to these people and ask before the next meeting
okay.
to see if they'll,
I don't have any problem with Margaret
no?
speaking
Okay.
for us.
No, I don't
All
have
of
a
us.
problem with
well,
that.
yeah, well, you're going to, yeah.
No, I
Okay,
mean,
just on the
the
No,
phone,
but
sure,
you're just
sure.
inquiring because you know what to ask, is
Right.
why
Right, and then obviously you'll see my draft letter before it goes anywhere.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, if you could get it to Jen and she'll distribute it to everybody.
So my particular concerns is line of sight on Southwest Main Street, number one, anyways.
Yep, I got that site distance, yep, and,
Les has his concerns about the stormwater running down and impacting
Yeah, I
whatever
got-
it's going to impact the potential something or other.
yeah, and I look at that septic system in the middle of that thing. Now, I used to live in a trailer park, and we had one big leach field for all the trailers, and it
Right.
was a mess.
Right.
You know, it just, all you have to do is have one or two,
This
dump paint
particular
down
piece of
there. and
property, it's different in grades,
I've been
but I
out
think they
there.
could have done something really nice with this
Yeah,
piece of property.
I've been out there. It's a beautiful piece of property.
Right.
Absolutely. So-
If you'd done something like new, what's that?
Excuse me, but in the letter, they said during the course of this review, Mass Housing conduct a site visit with which local boards are,
Yeah, but it was yesterday, or
No,
today.
Today, it was today. We
Today.
just found out about
it
it.
was, oh, it's today.
Yeah, it was today, so we get it tonight, yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I think that's another important thing to maybe note in the letter,
Yeah.
is that due to timing, that our ZBA board was not able to.
No, this came in on April 22nd.
Correct. So
We meet on the 7th, and their site walk was the morning of our meeting.
Correct. So we should
Yeah.
highlight that and the fact that we weren't
Yep.
able to send our
So
representative.
why can't we request another one?
Correct.
Right.
That's all.
We can.
Yeah.
I think we should do that. In
Request
regards-
Yeah,
another
yeah,
site
yeah,
walk.
sure.
Yeah.
I'll reach out.
Yeah.
And I think, what was the other, whether, they showed in here, whether they're gonna use it with water or private water. Maybe.
Well, they inquired if there was water available, and the answer was, yes, there's water available. They didn't inquire about the quantity, right? So that falls under Ken's comments as to, for if the building code is going to require for fire suppression in there. I guess that depends on how tight they get this, how close they are, right?
Yeah. And the plan doesn't really show that separate, it doesn't show it really.
It looks like the other one. They look to be about 30 feet apart.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all about the densities, the height. They're in the no water district, so even though there's a pipe up there, but,
Who's in there? They're in the aquifer, right? They're in the aquifer.
that's not an aquifer though. I don't believe that.
I wonder
I
how,
believe that's an aquifer.
The town's aquifer map, they're in the zoning space.
Yeah, I don't think that's in the aquifer. I think it's outside the aquifer.
the other thing is,
I think it is. I'm not positive.
how far in can you go with a cul-de-sac, Margaret?
I thought you, 500 feet, right?
For a cul-de-sac?
For a cul-de-sac, is it 1,000 feet, is it? 1,000 feet?
Oh, 1,000, yeah, 1,000 feet, that's right.
Used to be 500.
So this first property line is 410 feet.
Yeah.
So by the time they get around this loop, I bet you they're probably over there 1,000 feet.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, I'll say my other concern is, and they'll probably have to just show it, is the turning radius for a fire truck in that cul-de-sac area, to be able to properly emergency vehicles and stuff like that.
But they have a loop at the end though, right?
Pretty good sized loop.
Yeah, but if you
With the
look,
septic in the middle.
no, well, they have a complete cul-de-sac that goes around.
Right.
But
Right.
where it comes back and intersects with the main access road, that radius might be too tight.
Correct.
But you should get input from fire department about
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
Yep.
Yep.
So if we do that,
yeah.
But that, we wouldn't be getting input from the fire department now.
no, but we can say that's one of our concerns. that
Sure, yeah,
we would like to-
right.
Yeah, we can just put it down that yeah.
That's going to have to review, got it.
I'm not sure what the procedure is to get an engineer on board. So when we went through it, we had Bill.
Well, the problem with this is because there's nothing there, they don't have a 53G account, so.
Right, so I don't know what the procedure is to open one, but it's been done many times.
There's no money change, they're just showing you a conceptual plan, right? So you don't have a 53G account. I don't know if that's a possibility that they can,
I would think if you're having a plan come into the board for review,
Right.
that it would be an open, before the reviews all happen, it would be something set up for a 53G for the town engineering to review it.
Right.
That'd be probably part of the initial conversations with the board.
Yeah, part of this middle packet.
Should we pursue Haley and Ward to do that for us, or do we put it out to bid? I don't know.
I think
Well,
probably.
why don't we ask them the questions? The questions you just brought up.
Yeah, no, Margaret's going to pose the questions together, and then what
Yeah.
I was just going to suggest is I can reach out to Matt in the morning, the town administrator, and just ask him, what's the process? Because we don't have a budget for it, right? Potential community development director is coming in to 21st or something like that, doesn't give him any time to weigh in on it with a 5-day window. So they either need to give us some sort of continuance, or I would think that they need to put something into a 53G account.
Right.
Yeah, it has to go through, I think they're just asking for comments now, and then from there has to be submission.
Yeah.
But if we're going to get
Validation of a plan.
comments from professionals, they're going to want to get paid.
Correct. Oh, no, 100%.
You know,
Oh, yeah.
And that's
so-
part of the
Yeah.
submission. I mean, I think
Yeah.
Mike can check into that, because I think the housing board, Leonard is another one, that planning board piece. So whoever,
Yeah.
what other that process is, thinking consultant. Yeah.
So you had the turning radius for the fire apparatus too on your notes, Margaret?
What's that?
The turning radius for the fire apparatus, did you have that?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, so if you look on the second page of this, it says, please note that if and when an application is submitted for a comprehensive permit, assistance is available to the ZBA to review the permit application. The Massachusetts Housing Partnership, Chapter 40B Technical Assistant Program administers grants to municipalities up to $15,000 to engage qualified third-party consultants to work with the town ZBA in review of the Chapter 40B proposal. Does that answer the question, or?
I'd like to,
Tap into it.
I'd like to, as part of our comments, that we would be very open to receiving a municipality grant for this project to help us
Yeah.
review it.
And even if we got the grant, it probably wouldn't cover costs, but we just have to make provisions so they can cover, the applicant can cover anything beyond that.
Yeah. If someone puts the offer out there for the grant,
Yeah,
so.
My understanding of this Mass program is just, they try and get some of the hurdles out of the way for the 40B program so that they can help to expedite the process. It doesn't eliminate all of it, doesn't eliminate all of the engineering or anything, but it just helps to clear some of the I'll call them less than major hurdles.
Okay, so I'll have
It
a draft.
might be, you have the guy's phone number, might not hurt just to call them up and just ask them.
I plan on it. I plan on it.
It's coming.
Yeah, I plan on it, and
Yeah.
see if we can't get an extension to this May 26th date till, give us a week or 2 weeks, so we can,
Or at least until our next meeting, so we can
Correct.
digest what we're looking at.
correct, and see if he's open to have another site visit. So who would be willing to go to that site visit?
I mean, I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just need notice.
Yeah, okay.
If you're going to set it up and there's going to be more than three people, we got to post it.
Okay.
Yep. And we have to call a meeting to order when we're out there.
Yeah.
We've done that a couple times. All right. Nice to have you on board, Margaret. So we don't have any other agenda items.
Are we discussing number 3? Number 3, discussion.
The Brown Road Industrial,
I think it's just on our agenda.
it was just a courtesy from the planning board, because it's a planning board issue 100%. So,
I think there's some legal discussion going on with that as what the validity of the actual process is. So that's something that town council and the applicant needs to hash out, I think, from what I understand.
so do we have to go through the Board of Selectmen or the town administrator? No, for
This one, Ken?
legal counsel on this?
Is it mine?
40B?
On the 40B, yeah, I'll talk to Matt in the morning and find out, so that way we have good direction to go on it. But we're going to need to figure out, and it doesn't hurt that Margaret's going to interact with that person from Mass Housing, just to find out if we can get a continuance or an extension, I guess.
Yeah.
An extension in time to properly review it, and maybe potentially a second bite at a site walk, since we weren't given ample notice.
Yeah, because then we're going to be the board weighing in on it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, can you, everybody else has got it but us.
Correct. I think that's a great thing, that you weren't given ample notice, the meeting was on
Yeah.
the 7th at 7 PM, and your sidewalk was at 11. So,
I had a planning board member walk up to me and said that he'd seen it. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I haven't seen it.
All right, if we don't have any other business,
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
all right, we have a motion by Mr.
Me tonight,
Fitzpatrick to adjourn, second by Mr. Palmer. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, the meeting's adjourned at 8:25.